Everybody's talking about backstage footage with CM Punk and Jack Perry and Tony Khan, and should they have shown it and shouldn't they have shown it? Come on, everybody. What we should be talking about is we're going to have Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland at Dynasty. We're going to have Will Ospreay versus Brian Danielson at Dynasty. This is what we should be talking about. And that's what we are going to talk about. The prediction show for AEW's Dynasty coming right up. AEW's Dynasty, Sunday, April 21st. We've got some matches to talk about here. These are some incredible matches lined up here. They have added a bunch of matches, so let's talk about some of these matches that were added here last minute for 0 hour. We have Trent Beretta and Matt Sydal. This match here is going to be an easy match to predict. Trent's going to win this match, no question asked. He is turned on Orange and everybody's angry at him. We have no idea what all implications are going to be from this yet, other than at least it's a new character build, new story for him. We'll see who follows Trent. Are we going to have any best friends left at the end of all this? It's hard saying, but Orange is kind of on an island right now. So let's see what happens. But Trent's definitely going to win this match. And we've added this Hook versus Chris Jericho match for the FTW Championship. There's no way Hook's going to lose this, so Hook will retain his title. I'm having a hard time getting behind this storyline. I know Jericho likes to reinvent himself on a regular basis. I do see some legitimacy to the character of he can't let go of how he helps everybody. I could see this as a new character, arc for Chris Jericho, but I'm just not buying it here that, with Hook, he's going to have any chance in this match or take the FTW title. Although Jericho would probably love to add one more title to his career that he's never had. So we'll see, but I think this is an easy one and Hook should retain. We've also added a very interesting match to Dynasty 0 hour here, and this is the Bullet Club versus the Acclaimed, titles for titles. So we're going to combine the ROH and the AEW Trios titles. This is an interesting one. This could go either way because I hate to see Jay White lose or not have a title. I could see the Acclaimed possibly losing so that they could potentially go back into just tag teaming with the Acclaimed themselves and go after the tag titles and get another strong team in that group of teams that'll be vying for the titles. But yeah, I'm going to go with that. I'm going to go with Bullet Club winning this one, and they're going to be AEW and ROH Trios champions after this match. This one's a tough call. It could go either way, but I'm going to go with Bullet Club and see what happens from there. We have Orange Cassidy and Shibata going up against Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, also a 0 hour matchup. And this one should be an easy one. It should be Orange Cassidy and Shibata getting the win here. But, they could throw us a swerve and have Trent come out and get involved in this match and cost Orange the match, which would continue that storyline along. But I think that, it's tough to give Orange and Shibata a loss here on a pay-per-view, even in the 0 hour. And we have the 8 matches that have been announced for a while now also here. I think we could be getting the FTW title match with Hook and Jericho added to this 8 as the main show. But other than that, these are the main matches that we do have lined up for the Dynasty show that have been kind of in place for a little while now. Everybody is talking about this backstage footage stuff, and this seems to be the biggest distraction going in. If you watch my previous videos, you know that I've already told you what I expect to have happen during that tag team match, and we will discuss that further into the video here. But like I said before, let's just let this go. Let's let this be the end of this, and come on, let's just move forward, AEW. But the way that footage could affect and probably will affect the tag team titles here, as I mentioned before, is that I expect Jack Perry to interfere in this match at some point. This dynasty match is now a actual ladder match for the tag team championships of AEW, and I do expect Jack Perry to interfere and for the Young Bucks to come out on top because of that, therefore screwing over FTR, who happen to be good friends with CM Punk. And then, for the god of everything, let's please end this whole storyline with CM Punk. He doesn't work for your company, okay? Let's move on. Let's let Jack Perry build his own character from here, but let's not rely on CM Punk forever. He works for the other company. You're promoting the other company when you do this. One other thought on this match is that if Tony Khan decides to just totally ignore the fact that he aired this footage, not have Jack Perry have any impact on this match or this pay-per-view, I think it's a huge mistake because at that point, there was no point in airing the footage other than to get back at CM Punk for going on the MMA Hour and talking about what happened backstage. And it looks just like pure petty retaliation at that point. So if Tony Khan doesn't capitalize on airing that footage and have Jack Perry get involved in this match, it's a huge, huge mistake and one that I don't think that they'll recover from for a very long time. Next matchup that I want to discuss is Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe in a trios match against the House of Black. Now, the backstory on this one is really strictly built on Adam Copeland's TNT championship being challenged by Malachi Black as of recent. We didn't get that match for this pay-per-view because I think we're setting that up for the next pay-per-view, which will be Double or Nothing. And my inclination was completely that Copeland, Briscoe, and Kingston, 3 champions in AEW, could not possibly lose this match. But literally, while I started recording this, I changed my mind, thinking things through a little bit, because here's my thought process on this. We get House of Black winning this match against these champions. This is a way for these champions all to lose without having any effect on their titles, other than the fact that it adds more fuel to the fire that Malachi Black is a good opponent for Adam Copeland going into the next pay-per-view, because then he's got a win with his group against Adam Copeland and his group, therefore setting up an epic battle between Malachi Black and Adam Copeland. Hey, besides, the House of Black, the house always wins, right? And I forget that a lot of times when I'm making these predictions. But with deeper thought into this, I do believe House of Black come away with the victory on this match. This pay-per-view is loaded with great matches, and this one here is one that everybody's waiting for. I mean, this could be the absolute show stealer of the entire night. Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson, one-on-one. I could see this match going 60 minutes. I really could. And you cannot be disappointed no matter who wins this match. But Will Ospreay's new to the company. Will Ospreay's possibly the best absolute pure wrestler in the entire world right now, and going against Bryan Danielson, who for years has proven that he is one of, if not the best wrestler in the world. This is a dream match, absolute dream match, and it's one that I believe Will Ospreay is going to win as a new addition to AEW, and to build him up and show the world what he's capable of. I think Bryan Danielson pretty much would beg to do the job to Will to help put him over for his future. This is definitely a torch passing type of match that is just going to be can't miss material. Absolutely cannot miss. AEW had a real feel good moment recently as Kyle O'Reilly returned to the ring after a career threatening injury that kept him out for nearly 2 years. This storyline had people leading to believe that potentially he would join Roderick Strong in his faction, as the two have a lot of history together, working together, and as best friends. However, Kyle O'Reilly had declared that he wanted to do this comeback and push his career in the right direction by himself and handle things on his own. Roderick Strong did not take too kindly to that, and this has led to a little bit of friction between them. Even though they've shown that they are trying to still be friends, Roderick Strong is a very opinionated and very self indulging champion right now as the international champion. And this has led to a matchup between the two here at Dynasty for that international championship. Now, as much as this feel good story would be amazing to kind of cap off as Kyle O'Reilly become the new international champion, I don't see that happening. I don't see Roderick Strong losing this title for a while. Is this character build that he has been pretty entertaining, and it looks like he could potentially go on for quite some time as champion. And Kyle O'Reilly, a loss here is not going to hurt. I could see Kyle O'Reilly being on the verge of victory here of the international championship match. And then, of course, Wardlow will most likely get involved along with Adam Cole and the rest of the gang. And just building up even more compassion for Kyle O'Reilly and a potential rematch down the road that this could be a ongoing feud for a while. I could see these guys putting on a really good match as both have a ton of good technical wrestling skill, but ultimately Roderick Strong will retain the title here heading into the next pay-per-view, and this feud's not over, folks. Definitely not over. It's been announced that this Wednesday on Dynamite, we're going to hear from Mercedes Moné, and one has to think that this is definitely going to have some impact and implications on the match between Julia Hart and Willow Nightingale at Dynasty, where Julia puts the TBS championship on the line against Willow. Now, the storyline between Julia and Willow has been going on for quite some time, with Sky Blue and Chris Statlander, with Julia and Willow. This has definitely had a back and forth battle and feud between those four and has evolved over time. It's been a pretty long ongoing storyline with those four. I mean, goes back into Chris Statlander's title reign, where Stat got one win over Julia before Julia actually beat her for the title. Sky Blue's basically gone from face to heel, joined Julia. Willow and Sky were best friends. I mean, this storyline's been kind of all over the place, but at least it's been a long-term storytelling, which you can't complain about anytime that's able to be done. It's a plus for wrestling, right? And insert Mercedes Moné into the fold, who comes in with an already built storyline with Willow from New Japan, where she dropped the title match to Willow due to the injury that she experienced there in New Japan. And now we've got ourselves a very interesting storyline where most people would believe the easy way to go with this match would be to have Willow win so that they could have the basic rematch for Mercedes at Double or Nothing and potentially dropping the title to Mercedes at that time. It's also so basic, and it's going to harm the, you know, value of this title by dropping it and then dropping it again, and then throwing it on Mercedes when the belt's prestige is at an all-time low because of a 2-month turnaround of 3 champions. So what I see happening in this match is Mercedes getting involved in this match and helping Julia Hart retain the title. This would accomplish several things. One, it would help to continue to build the prestige of this title so that we wouldn't have a turnover of championship 3 times within about a month period. It would also continue all of these storylines. It would continue the Willow and Julia Hart storyline. It would also continue and build on the Mercedes versus Willow storyline. And it would also put some intrigue in the character build of Mercedes Moné. Is she gonna be a heel? Is she gonna be a face who's just getting revenge for what happened in New Japan and losing her title match that she had there? It does a lot of things. It builds a lot of potential going forward. It could set up possible matches between now and Double or Nothing where Julia Hart and Mercedes Moné actually tag up and go against Willow Nightingale and Chris Statlander. I mean, that would be a good build going into the Double or Nothing pay-per-view, where I see them, if this result happens, going with a fatal three-way between Julia Hart, Willow Nightingale, and Mercedes Moné at Double or Nothing. And at that point, you could actually drop that title to Mercedes if that's what they want to do. Or they could drop it to Willow at that time, where Willow finally settles that storyline and then builds a new storyline towards the next pay-per-view, which would be Willow versus Mercedes at that point. But it would actually build more prestige on this title and make more storyline potential going forward. Bottom line is I see Julia Hart retaining and having all these potential storylines to build on going into Double or Nothing, and helping to build the character of Mercedes Moné and what to expect from her going forward. So this is going to be a good, interesting match that could go a lot of different ways. Another exciting matchup that we have is Okada versus Pac. Pac has recently returned and has been on a mission to prove himself, and he wants to go up against the best to do that. And right now, AEW has added some big names, as we've already covered a few of them here today, but Okada is one of the biggest. And as much as I think this will be an amazing match, I do believe that it's the most predictable on the card. There is no way that you bring Okada in and have him lose at the very first pay-per-view that he's showcased on. So this is a no-brainer. Okada wins this one. In a pay-per-view loaded with title matches, it wouldn't be complete without Toni Storm putting her women's championship on the line as well. The storyline build for this matchup has included Thunder Rosa returning from injury after a long break from wrestling and coming back with a pretty impressive winning streak, including defeating Toni Storm's protege, Mariah May. In retaliation, Toni Storm has managed to impose her will on Thunder Rosa, including coming out there and rubbing the makeup and smearing it into her face on television. This build has been okay at best. And I don't see Toni Storm dropping the title anytime soon, as I think that this is a storyline that AEW wants to continue with Toni Storm. And these two can revisit this matchup at a later time. But at this time, I see Toni Storm retaining and beating Thunder Rosa, perhaps with interference from Mariah May as a revenge for the one loss and mark on Mariah May's record. And finally, what pay-per-view would be complete without the World Championship being on the line? And here it is. We have finally, at last, one-on-one Samoa Joe versus Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. And what direction is AEW going to go here? I had kind of had hopes that this storyline would have been built and dragged out longer to get us all the way to All In, where that we could have this match and have Swerve Strickland win the championship there on the biggest stage in the world, All In. But it looks like AEW wants to get this match in the books, potentially drop this title onto Swerve Strickland, and then build from there going forward into Double or Nothing, possibly with a rematch at Double or Nothing. But I do see Swerve Strickland winning this championship and becoming the first African American world champion in AEW, which is going to really cap off this pay-per-view on a high note and give them a lot of potential going forward of storylines that they could do both with Samoa Joe and Swerve Strickland. How we're going to get to that point in this match, I couldn't tell you. I do believe that this will be one hell of a good match between these two. They will not disappoint. Overall, this whole pay-per-view is going to be a absolute amazing pay-per-view with match after match after match, really satisfying the people because there's so much talent in AEW. How can you not do that? And I'm really looking forward to it, and I hope you all are as well. Hey, please like and subscribe. Go ahead and throw some comments in on who you think is going to come out of Dynasty as the world champion, along with some of these other matches. There's some really intriguing matches here, and I think that this has potential to be one of the best pay-per-views of the year for AEW, and who knows, we could get some real serious surprises. I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you. And I got to give a shout out to my beautiful wife, Arian, who surprised me with this baby for my birthday.